Okay, hi everyone. I'm going to talk about the 10 principles of economics. I'm going to talk about the first chapter, which is the principle of economics of the book of Gregory Mankew's book. Okay, first of all, before talking about the 10 principles of economics, I'm going to talk about the origin of the word of economics. Economics come from the Greek word, which is basically one who manages a household. As we think about a household, we know that the household faces many decisions. So, for example, even if they are not as initially as economics, they are decisions. So, for example, who takes the pet out, who cleans the dishes, who pays the bills, or which TV channel the family watch. All these characteristics, they have something in common. All these facts depend on each member's abilities, efforts, and desire. So all these important decisions inside a household depends of each member. And if we think about a household, we can go beyond household and we will find society. As we know, society faces decisions as well. So if we think about a society as a big household, we know that there are different specialization of each people. So for example, who will be in charge for food, or who will ride a bike or a car, or who will eat hamburgers or seafood. So this is like the decision that we have in the interaction inside the society, inside the household. So as we know, these all these facts are important, devoted to the naturality of scarce resources. Scarce resources. What is scarcity? It's like producers cannot offer infinitely all resources as consumers, because consumers cannot have all their wishes. There is a limit from both parts. So at the end, we can define economics as the study of how society manages its scarce resources. This is all economics is about: how we can manage these kind of particular resources. So the principles of economics, Gregor mankiw classifies in 10. So first, people face trade-offs. Second, the cost of something is what you give up to get it. Third, rational people think at the margin. Fourth, people respond to incentives. Fifth, trade can make everyone better off. Sorry, here is like Z is everyone. Markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. Governments can sometimes improve market outcomes. 8. A country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and services. And 9. Prices rise when the government prints too much money. And 10. Society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and employment. We can we can divide these 10 principles in 3 groups. The first group is about how people make decisions. The second group is from 5th to 8th point, which is all about how the people interact. And the last one from 8 to 10 is how the economy as a whole works. So the first principle is people face trade-offs. So making decision requires trading off one goal against another. So we can understand better this principle throughout examples. So for example, when you watch this YouTube video, you are sacrificing your time of watching another video more interesting maybe. Or what about when parents they offer a great meal and this money could have been used in the cinema, for example? This is the trade-off: the meal or the cinema. We cannot have both in this case. What about the government? If we think about the government, they spend money in defense instead of a school. This is a trade-off. They cannot like equally or spending one part without not spending to the other part. Or when you play FIFA, instead of playing Grand Theft Auto, you cannot play both same. Okay, or in the party you dance with your sister, but instead of the girl you like. This is a trade-off. I mean, you're dancing with one, but you cannot dance with the other. At least usually. It refers the trade-off. It refers to two important terms in economics: efficiency and equity. So we can understand, we can grasp the efficiency as the size of the pie, and equity is how it's distributed. Okay, so this is a trade-off. We can have like a big pie, and we can have a big slices. Maybe we can have like distribute the equity better, but we are going to sacrifice the size of the cake. The second principle is the cost of something is what you give up to get it. So because people face trade-off, making decisions requires comparing the costs and benefits of alternative courses of action. So as example, now you're watching this video, the cost is time. I mean, you have a opportunity cost, you unfortunately cannot do another stuff. Or when you're having a free product, you're going through to the shopping mall, and you know there is a line, you're wasting time in the line. So this is the cost. You think it's free, you have to wait for that, is time. So we now introduce another important term in economics, which is the opportunity cost, which is whatever must be given up to obtain some item. So you are doing something, but you're sacrificing. Maybe you could have done something at the same time. So for example, when you watch a soccer match, when there is another at the same time, supposedly you cannot split the screen, or you cannot divide that, so you just have focus your attention in one soccer match. Or what about the class that you don't like? Imagine that there is a class that you don't like, as I said, but so the opportunity cost is so high, because you can do something, even sleeping, even doing anything would be better than this class. The third principle is about rational people think at the margin. So your decisions are not usually in the extreme points, they are not black and white. So we can say that our decisions, they are more in the marginal changes. So what about exercise? And imagine that you exercise 3 times a week and you go jogging. When you go jogging, maybe you are thinking about jogging 50 minutes or 55 or 1 hour. You're just like thinking about marginal changes. You're not thinking about the big changes, like I'm not gonna jog anything, or I'm going to jog like for 5 hours. What about eating? You receive your lunch and maybe you want more appetite, so maybe you want another french fry, or you want a little bit more rice or whatever. So in this thing, you're not thinking about zero eating and more on like 5 kilograms. You are thinking more about maybe one piece of the food more. What about travel by car? When you go by car, you have to go like for 13 hours. You are thinking about this marginal change. You're not thinking about 0 hours of both 4 or 24 hours. So this is the margin. And education, when you think about education, maybe you're thinking of studying 2 years more, a master's degree or bachelor's degree, but you're not thinking about not studying, become just illiterate, or maybe a PhD program. You're thinking about just like how it's important to change one year more of education. We can understand a little bit more about margin, about the cost of an airplane. So what about this airplane? We have this airplane, suppose that we have 200-seat plane, and the cost of the trip for the company is $100,000. But if we divide these two numbers, we can find the average cost. Once we have the average cost, we can imagine that the plane is to take off, and there are just 10 seats, and there are 10 seats available. So the airplane is going to take off, but there is one guy. This guy is going to pay $300. So what do the company do? What does the company do? In this case, it's profitable for the airplane to leave this guy to go to get on the airplane. So in this case, thinking about marginal cost, what is the cost of this new guy? It's just maybe peanuts, some snacks, some water that the man is going to demand. So it's no more than that. So maybe the marginal cost is profitable, and we can think about allowing the guy to enter to the airplane. The fourth principle is about people respond to incentives. So people make decisions by comparing costs and benefits. The behavior may change when the costs or benefits change. So as example, what about if a price of some good goes down? When the price goes down, maybe people have more incentive to buy this good. What about the tolls for cars outside the cities? When we have this kind of price that we have to pay in order to go downtown, we have incentive to go by bike, to go by public transportations, to go by feed, I don't know, by food, whatever. What about the discount museums and signs? When we have this kind of discounts, maybe people are tempted to go to the museum because they have the incentive, because they are free this day. What about your dog shit in the public garden? Maybe there is no incentive to pick it up because no one says anything. There is no any fee that you have to pay. But if there is like a really strong rule, maybe there is the incentive of not doing that. Or imagine the class that we have a topic crucial in the exam. So we have this topic, maybe people that are so incentive to go them to this class and paying a lot of attention. The fifth principle is about trade can make everyone better off. The trade basically allows each people to specialize in the activities he or she does best and to enjoy the variety of goods and services at lower cost. So as example, my country, Colombia, we are more specialized in coffee because we are best at doing coffee. But Japan is the best in automotive sector, so they're going to specialize in this particular sector. What about we think about Tiger Woods in golf? Maybe the man is good like cutting the grass in his house, but it's better that he specializes in golf because the profit on the earns they are much more bigger than the other part. What about James Rodriguez in soccer? The man has an outstanding talent, so maybe he's like the best in doing that, so he has to practice this, which is like the part of specialize him. What about me in economics? Well, absolutely, I'm not the best, but I can say that I know a little bit about the topic. So it could be like for me, it would be better doing that than maybe like making the laundry. Okay, maybe I'm not the best doing that. So the sixth is about markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. In this part, Gregory Marcus, Dr. Gregory Marcus, he talks about the communism and how this central plant, which they talk about how the government they realize and they choose how many goods, how many services, and at which price they're going to be in the market. So in the Soviet and all the communism is practically out, and one of the trend principles like the market economy that allocates resources to the decentralized decisions of many firms and households as they interact in markets for goods and services. So in this part, the prices and self-interest guided the decisions. As we know, like for example, the firms they decided to how many they're going to produce, and the households they decide where they're going to work, and people decide what to buy. So this is the market as usually works, allocate all resources in the best way. So the seventh is like the governments can sometimes improve market outcomes. So there are two reasons to intervene in economics. So for example, there is efficiency and equity. So efficiency, remember, is the size of the cake, and equity is how we split it. And what are market failures? So one of the market failures most popular is the externality. So we know that the externality is the impact of one person's action on the well-being of another person. And the example in this case is like invention. When someone invents something, the government, they have the duty to protect this invention for a certain quantity of time. So this is like how the government improve this market outcome, because otherwise someone will copy his her invention. So what about the noise for your neighbor? Maybe if there is no rule about that, there is no payment, maybe you don't have like in this case I must say that the outcome is going to be that your neighbor, they're going to party every single day. But how the government, they can, or it can regulate in sort of way this stuff, they're going to make a tariff or something that neighbor, not going to do anymore. And when there is monopoly, there is just a company who produces and sells one good or service. The government, they can regulate this market, because there is something market power of this company in order to offer a better results for all society. And inequity, maybe we just like leave the market to the market economy, we will find that there will be still people starving, there will be still people having problems. So in this way it's better to sacrifice a little bit about efficiency to have more more equity. So the eighth part is country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and services. Citizens of high-income countries have more TV sets, more cars, better nutrition, better healthcare. Almost all variation in living standards is attributable to differences in countries' productivities. But we can see here this interesting graph when we have the gross domestic product, which is the GDP per capita. So how of the total of the production of the of the country, it belongs to each citizens. And we can see here United States and Colombia. Unfortunately for Colombia, we see like this is like 5 times less than the United States GDP per capita, which is around $50,000, $50,000, and in the case of Colombia it's around $10,000. So we can see how the production depends on the makes like better quality of life in general. Ninth part is about prices rise when the government prints too much money. So when we have too much money in the economy, we have the so-called inflation. Inflation is an increase in the overall level of prices in the economy. So we know that the growth of the quantity in the economy of the money, we can know that when there is too much money, the price of this money is still lower. So for example, when we have like much more people with more money, with just $1 I cannot buy the same thing that I had before. So it depends on the quantity of money. And the last one is society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. So we know that inflation for many countries is primordial activity of their economy. But why so hard to control it? Because there is a relation with there is a temporary unemployment rise, which is called the Phillips curve. What does it say? It says basically that prices are low to adjust. Okay, so imagine for example that the government reduces the quantity of money in the economy. So people in average, they have less money than before. So in these cases they won't buy more, so they will have lower in sales. Once we have lower sales, the firms, they have to lay off workers until the prices adjust, which we talk about prices adjustment after the short run. So it will be like the medium run or the long run. So that's it. That's everything. I hope you like it. I hope it will be useful for you. I will continue with Book of mankiw. And that's it. Thank you for watching my video and have a great time with your economics. See you. Bye bye.